All right, friends. All right, Shabbat Shalom. If everyone would please take their seats. My apologies for starting a little bit late. Josh, are we actually online already too? All right, so my apologies to you in cyberspace, the fewer and fewer of you who are out in cyberspace, particularly on probably this beautiful weekend. Many of you are out there enjoying nature, I hope. And anyway, so apologies for starting late. We're going to get right to it. It's a beautiful night here at the Murray Davis Courtyard at Temple Beth Abraham, and it's just a wonderful way to bring in Shabbat, which we all need very badly. And we've got some exciting things in tonight's service, which I'll tell you about when we get there. I'll tell you about one now, William Howard Taft. If you don't understand, then you haven't been going to any of the services, either virtually or in person, but William Howard Taft tonight. All right, we are going to start on page 5. Page 5. One more word on process here. Singing. Although again, they still said, it's still questionable whether you can sing at worship service. We decided now that, especially with your masks on, you want to sing, just go ahead, So it's okay, Now, if it's bothering somebody near you, then you should probably stop. But, and maybe not like super duper loud, but, sing with the masks on. Also, we have to get you ready because in like 3 weeks, we're going to be singing with the masks off most likely. So we can't just go cold turkey. Oh, one more thing, sorry. I got to turn on here. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד. נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, איי כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו, הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובוא לחצרותיו, איי השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, הילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיכון תבל בל תימוד, ידין עמים במישרים, ישמעו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא. יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, איי אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי איבה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים באמונתו, איי ניי 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 יא ניי 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 יא ניי 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 יא ניי ניי ניי. All right, so we may have to set up a few more chairs, right? We got that taken care of? Okay. Because we had some people I thought maybe were at the children's service are here for the adult one, which is great. It's great. We've got a lot of kids here tonight, which is very exciting. So special hello to Josie and Talia and Simone and Asher and Ari and Ariella and Ayal. And maybe we could count Sarah as a kid, maybe not, I don't know, It's about to count in a minion, so. All right. we are going to jump now to Romamu, page 12. But instead of yelling out Romamu when I say, or key, when I say key, you're going to clap. Key, key. All right. Page 12. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. All right, page 13, Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai bnei Elim, Havu l'Adonai, Kavod va'oz, ay, Havu l'Adonai, Kevod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al ha'amayim el hakavod yirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'koach, ay, kol Adonai be'adar, kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai el arzei halvanon, vayarkirem kemo egel levanon ve'esirion kemo venre'emim, ay, kol Adonai chotzev lavot esh, kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai yechol el ayalot, vayechesof ye'arot, uve'echalo kulo omer kavod, ay, Adonai lama bo yashav yeshev, Adonai melech le'olam, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Hey, yai, nai, yai, nai, yai, nai, yai, nai, yai, nai, yai, Simone, that's some awesome dancing you're doing back there. Wow, impressive. All right, Lecha Dodi, page 15, Shabbat Bride. And we have a bride in our presence tonight, too. So we're going to give a blessing to our bride, Jill, and fiance, Brian. That'll be later on in the service. So right now, this is the Shabbat Bride. Also happen to be doing a wedding in Big Sur on Sunday. So all kinds of, we could use a little joy. So we get some. All right. Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Sha'amor v'zachor b'dibor echad, hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'li'ila, לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Bottom of 17, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise, welcome the Shabbat while facing the entrance. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי קלה, בואי קלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. And we say to any mourners in our midst, you may be seated. Hamakom nechmechem b'tok shar v'lei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And yeah, I like that. Eyal and Asher, good friendship dancing there. Very, very nice. Okay, we're going to turn to page 19. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. We continue silently. The righteous shall flourish like a palm tree. Tzadik tamar yifrach, keres balvanon yizkeh, jetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot, Eloheinu yafrichu, od yenuvun beseva, deshenim v'ra'ananim yehu lehagid, Yashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo. Arai malach got lavesh Adonai zitazar, afti kon tevel baltimo, dachon kisacha me'ez mlamata, nasu nerot Adonai, nasu nerot kolam, yisu nerot och yam. Mi kolot mayim rabim adirhim, Mishpereyam adir bamarom Adonai erotecha ne'emanu me'or leveitecha nava kodesh Adonai leorech yamim we rise for the formal call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, very briefly. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Mevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Mevorach leolam va'ed. We can be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bivaro ma'ariv aravim. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavita Amcha ahavita Torah umitzvot Hukim umishpatim Otanu limadita, Otanu limadita. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu, uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha leolam. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negeyomam v'layla negeyomam v'layla ve'vatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael. Page 25. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavecha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol meodecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anuchi metzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta ba'am, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha, uv'kumecha, ukshartam al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beineinecha, uchtavtam kol mizuzot beitecha, uvisharecha vaya. We continue silently, pages 27 through 29. Page 29. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim Elohechem ani, Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem leElohim, ani Adonai Elohechem emet. Adonai Elohechem emet. Mochuto bratzun kulehem, Moshe v'nei Yisrael lechan shira b'simcha rabah, v'amru chulam. 32. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehilot Osefele, Nora tehilot, Osefele. מלכותך ראו בניך, כהים לפני משה. זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. 1, 2, 3, 4. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. Page 33. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, Ve'amidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, Ve'amidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Ushmor Tziteinu לחיים ושלום מצווה עד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. פרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, פרס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Please rise for Vishamru, page 34. Vishamru bnei Yisrael et hashabat לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Page 35. יקדל ויקדש שמי רבה, ביום דברה חירותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לעלמי עלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויבר וירמם ויתנשא Vitadar, vitale, vitalal, shemedi kudsha, barichu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, v'imeru, amen. Private Amidah, pages 37 through 48. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. יננננננאי, 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 יננננננאי. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו amen. All right. And it's president time. William Howard Taft. We're up to him already. There were a couple people told me this week that they were surprised to learn that a lot of these presidents really had an affinity for the Jewish people, particularly from kind of Lincoln on, at least through. Well, I haven't gotten that far yet, so at least through tonight, we may see some future issues. But this is William Howard Taft. I've been to his house before, not while he was living, but it's in Cincinnati, Ohio, where he's from. He was a member of the Republican Party and of the Unitarian Church. He's most famous, well, for being big, really. That's one of the things he's most famous for outside of his relationship with the Jewish community, which I'll get to in a moment, and for being on the Supreme Court after he was the President of the United States. Something people were talking about with Obama for a while, and that maybe that would happen someday. He really only ever wanted to be on the bench in the first place. He only left being a judge sort of as a favor. But when he eventually got to the president, some of his accomplishments including expanding civil service, the 8-hour workday for federal employees, enforcing the Sherman Antitrust Act, and the welcoming of New Mexico and Arizona. So he did some good things. However, his predecessor who handpicked him, Theodore Roosevelt, didn't like the job he did at all and then ended up running against them, split the party, and that's how Woodrow Wilson came to power, but that's next week. He had a lot of Jewish friends because Cincinnati was a really big Jewish city at that time. It was the Queen City, and it was sort of the center of Judaism, or at least one of the centers. It was the center of the Central Conference of American Rabbis and Hebrew Union College, which eventually became the Reform Rabbinical Seminary, but was the only rabbinical seminary at that time. He belonged, along with his father, to a church right across the street on Plum Street, from the Plum Street Temple, where Isaac Mayer Wise, who's really one of the most significant rabbis in American history, was the rabbi. And occasionally, Taft and his father would walk across the street to listen to Wise's sermons. He even attended a Passover Seder as a president, the first one to do so, and spoke on Shabbat at Rodef Shalom in Pittsburgh. My sister, who used to belong there, she was saying he was the first, they were the first synagogue that ever had a president speak. It turns out they're right if you count Shabbat, but there were presidents in Washington, D.C. who actually were there at the founding of the synagogue, the groundbreakings, things like that. So many had spoken at the synagogues there, but he was the first one to be a guest visitor on Shabbat. He had a lot of Jewish friends, and I know that sounds bad, but that's not how I mean it. Okay, Simon Wolf, that's the guy who helped all the inaugurations from Lincoln on, maybe even before Lincoln, but I think just maybe Lincoln on. He did Taft's inauguration, and Taft actually gave a eulogy when Simon Wolf died during his term. He said he was a leader in Israel. He had the interests of his people deeply at heart. In his death, the country loses a patriot, and the Jewish people a strong man. Meyer Sulzberger, who was a fellow judge of his, was also one of the founders of the Jewish Publication Society and a leader in conservative Judaism, and also one of the founders of the American Jewish Committee. Very good friends. Taft tried to appoint him to be the ambassador to Turkey, but he declined, and they sent Oscar Strauss, brother of the Macy's guy, back. Turkey, at a certain point, Turkey became the Jewish Post, believe it or not. There was a relationship with the with the Ottoman Empire and the state of Israel. Wasn't Israel yet, it was called Palestine at the time, but with the Jewish people were there, so it was a Jewish posting. He was also friends, I gave Macy's credit, now it's time to give Sears credit. He was good friends with Julius Rosenwald, the founder of Sears, and Julius Walls was the first overnight Jewish guest in the White House. Spent the night there. Taft also spoke out forcefully against the Tsar for not letting American Jews in there as tourists, right? That you couldn't use an American passport to Russia. So Taft's government actually rescinded the Russo-American Commercial Treaty, protest for that. So he really stood up for the Jewish people. In a speech to the Anti-Defamation League in 1920 in Chicago, post-presidency, he spoke out against Henry Ford, who at the time was the publisher of the Dearborn Independent, an anti-Semitic rag, and also the International Jew, which was the American version of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is an anti-Semitic forgery that claims Jews plot to take over the world. Jews and Zionists were the words that were used. But this is what he said. There is not the slightest ground for anti-Semitism among us. It is a vicious plant. It is a noxious weed that should be cut out. It has no place in free America, and the people who seek to introduce it should be condemned by public opinion. Taft lived a happy life post-presidency, back on the Supreme Court. He died of general poor health at 72 years old. So that's Taft for you. All right, now a lot of the kids are off on the grass, which is great. They should have fun there, but it's time for the parents to bless their children. And so if you want to put your hands on their heads and say, Yisimech Elohim kasar v'kara rachel v'leah, Yisimcha Elohim k'Ephraim v'chi Menashe, Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and keep you, Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka, may God's face shine upon you, be gracious unto you, Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, may God lift the divine face toward you and grant you peace. Amen. And the last part of that blessing, we're going to do a little slower now, and we're going to turn to our wedding couple. So, all right, so Jill and Brian, just go ahead and stand up. There is a camera on you also, besides all the eyes in this courtyard. Wonderful. Everyone in our community shares their happiness for you for your upcoming wedding this Thursday. Wonderful. We all hope that you continue a happy and blessed life together. And so we once again offer the blessing of Aaron and his sons. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. And I want to add, just keep your marriage strong and vibrant. Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May your life together be filled with grace and goodness. Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God lift the divine face toward you and grant you shalom, shalom bait, a home of happiness and peace. And let us say, Amen. Siman tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tovu, siman tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tovu, siman tovu, mazel tovu, siman tov, yehelanu, 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 ulecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Mazel tov, mazel tov, and your light is shining on us all tonight as well. So thank you. All right, we're going to turn now. Actually, I skipped Kaddish Shalem, so I'm going to do that. Page 53. Yikarav yikarash shemei rabbah. V'amad yivrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayachon v'yamechon v'chei Beit Yisrael. Bagalav izman kari v'imeru. Amen. Yahei shmei rabbah mivorach. Me'olam me'almaya yitbarach. Yivarach v'ishtabach v'yibar v'ram v'naseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata. V'shpachata v'nechemata adam yiram b'yama v'imeru. Amen. Tikabot sloton v'oton d'chol Yisrael. Korama v'hondi v'shmaya v'imeru. Amen. Yeshlam Rab min Shemaya v'cheim alinu v'kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'Ramav. Hu yaseh shalom. Alenu v'kol Yisrael v'kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imeru. Amen. We rise for the Alenu, page 57. And Ariella, if you have your compass, it should be pointing basically to that plant. Well, if it's pointing east, but it probably points north, so. Alenu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzeh v'reshit, shelo asanu kegoyeh haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor alenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei amlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגוב מרומיים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשב אותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת, אין עוד, כן נקווה. כך כתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. All right, we may be seated as we lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends, whose yortzeit we observe during the coming week, thinking especially tonight of Elias Elion, Lee Aronson, Ida Nathan Barnett, Lena Bernstein, Sidney Bogolofsky, Celia Block, Coleman Bloomfield, Aya Blumenkrantz, Ed Callahan, Jenny Epstein, Anne Frankel, Max Frey, Florence Wolfson Glick, Kenneth Gordon, Louis Gottesman, Albert Gould, Harry Hankin, Bernice Hanno, Aryeh Heber, Lenya Kobutskaya, Raymond Mogul, Rose Pulse, Leon Siegel, Helen Singerman, Celia Slavsky, Harry Sussman, Morris Weiss, Jack Wolf, Maurice Aaron Ziegler. We also begin the Shiva of one of the kindest, gentlest, most loving, just loveliest people that you could ever meet. Dina Aronson, wife of Steve Glazer, passed away this week. We buried her today out in Briones at the Temple Beth Abraham section in that cemetery there. It's called Stei Avraham, the Field of Abraham. And what an incredible person. And when her father died, she kind of became a Friday night and minyan regular for a few years, and she sat in the back left in the chapel, her smile just lighting up the room. Fabulous glasses she always wore, big giant glasses, and she was able to donate her eyes, actually, and two separate people are going to benefit from that, from the light that she was. And I share this story. Steve kept the glasses in case, when they get the eyes, the prescription matches. He's going to offer the glasses. And it's just, I loved it, loved the story. So may her memory be a blessing. It certainly is to me. We ask all those who are in mourning or observing yahrzeit, anyone else who wishes to rise for the Kaddish. It's on page 61. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach Yerutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayechol Beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam l'omei Maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Kudsha v'richu La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom b'imroma hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Zichronam livracha. May the memory of the people you're thinking of tonight be a blessing to you always, and let us say Amen. Once again, Mazel Tov to Brian and Jill. Tomorrow, Mazel Tov to the Engel family. Maya Engel becomes bat mitzvah, and she'll be leading most of the service. The following Saturday, Sarah Ur becomes bat mitzvah, so she will be leading. Mazel Tov to you. And although I doubt anyone is watching, Mazel Tov to Anna and Hannah. That's the wedding I'm doing on Sunday. And I just tell you a brief story. It's mostly maybe just interesting to me, but anyway, they called, well over a year because it was supposed to be last Memorial Day, and it turns out that one of them, Hannah, I knew her parents in BBYO. And her parents met in BBYO in our region here. The mom's from Livermore, the dad's from Belmont, and the dad and I actually went to high school together. We were 2 years apart, but we were very good friends. But I didn't know that at the time, but the name sounded familiar. I looked them up, I Facebook stalked them, and before I met with them on the phone, and they both went to Northwestern, so I figured they somehow found me through that connection. So I asked them, did you find me through that? No, and then I said their name. By any chance are you related to, Bennett? So yeah, I'm their daughter, so you must have found me for that. No? How'd you find me? Well, we were looking for a conservative rabbi who did same-sex marriages, which I didn't tell them that's basically all the rabbis in the Bay Area, right? So and they wanted one that seemed on the traditional side because they wanted it to be a very traditional wedding, but it's just same-sex, which I know to some people says, well, that can't be traditional, but there's a huge range of things. So they want a traditional wedding, and like I actually won't alter the ceremony except to match, significantly anyway. There are certain things, there's Hebrew, you have to alter the gender, but I still insist on doing certain things that are part of a Jewish wedding. So that's what they wanted. So that's how they found me, but I get to hang out with my high school friends too. So I'm very, very excited about that. So anyway, that's the story. I just thought it was interesting, at least to me. So, all right, so it's been a tough week, tough 3 weeks for us, for the Jewish people, for the people of Israel, for the land of Israel. Of course, for Palestinians as well. But I want to sing Am Yisrael Chai tonight, that the Jewish people live. It's a difficult time for us. It's hard to be optimistic about the future. The only way I'm able to do so, honestly, is to look at our history over the long haul, right? That Am Yisrael Chai, no matter what, no matter where, no matter the time. So we're doing it 3 ways, actually. So we're doing 3 different versions. They're all short. We're going to go from new to old. This one, the Abu Yudaia Jews from Uganda. Amma Yisrael Chai, Amma Yisrael Chai, Amma Yisrael Chai, Amma Yisrael Chai, oh Ravinu Chai, oh Ravinu Chai, oh Ravinu Chai, oh Ravinu Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. The next one from the 70s, I think, maybe the 60s. Am Yisrael Chai, 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 Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. This one is roughly Hasidic. The last one. How many have known both of them so far? All right, so if you knew both those, you're definitely going to go 3 for 3. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Shabbat Shalom. And let's be safe and careful out there.